Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. We say Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom to the whole house of Yasha'al. That is to say, the whole Ba'if of Yasha'al. To the elder brother, Yehuda. To the younger brother, Ephraim. To the former stranger, the former Gentile, the former foreigner, who is no longer a Gentile, no longer estranged from the everlasting covenant, and no longer a foreigner, but having received the Ruach of adoption, who is the Ruach HaKadosh, who is Yahushua HaMashiach, whereby through him, who is HaNatsah, which is to say the branch, through him you have become branches, and whereby have become engrafted, and in some cases re-engrafted back into the olive tree, and by extension the tree of life, and whereby now you are no longer a foreigner, no longer a stranger, no longer a Gentile, but now a fellow citizen of the Ba'if, the house of Yasha'al, and whereby now being privy to the same everlasting covenant and promise and inheritance that was given to Yasha'al and to Yasha'al alone. Shabbat Shalom to you, worldwide, wherever your feet are touching the soil on this yom, to all 12 tribes, and to the stranger who has enjoined himself or herself to us. Shabbat Shalom to you, worldwide. Worldwide. Barak Yahuwah, Barak Yahuwah. So here we are again. To those of you who are on YouTube, who are going to view this later on, here we are again on another Shabbat Yom. The question has been asked by some, how do you know today is the Shabbat Yom? Well, the simple answer is, he told me so. And besides that, 1 through 7 has never changed. This is indeed his Kadush Shabbat Yom. Question has even been asked, how do you know his name is Yahuwah? Once again, he told me so. To whomever have eyes to see and ears to hear, he has revealed his name in this season to his children as he goes about the business of sealing his children and in preparation to deliver his children, his firstborn, from the time of wrath. Barak Yahuwah. So we welcome you, those of you who are on YouTube worldwide, to Yahuwah's remnant Shabbat gathering. Once again, I am Daoud Ban Yahuwah. This is my Aisha Asher Yah. We welcome you. We welcome you. I warned some of you today, inclusive of those of you who are on Zoom, who are listening to this live. I warn you to get to a comfortable place today. Go to a comfortable spot. If you're in a hard chair, go get you, as they say, a whoopee cushion. Get you some kind of cushion to put underneath you. If you have a candle, go ahead and get a candle, because we're going to burn a little midnight oil. I'm not going to rush. I'm going to take my time, and I'm going to speak in the strength that Abba has given me, because this calling is too important. These messages are too important. They're not just for the Zoom family here, but this is going out worldwide to the four corners of the earth, as Yahuwah in this Muadah, which is to say appointed time, is gathering his people. Again, he's going about the business of sealing his people with his precious Ruach HaKadosh. And in sealing his people, not just his people, more specifically his firstborn son. Because as he has revealed to us, he only redeems firstborn sons. Not the firstborn according to the flesh, but the firstborn according to the Ruach. Only these is he sealing in this season. Indeed, in previous Shabbats, he has shown us that there are two manner of people. Either you are born from above or you are born from below. There is no in between. He has shown us in previous Shabbat that in the time before the flood, it was only those who were born from above who were sealed and delivered from the time of wrath, which we know as the flood waters that covered the whole earth. He has shown us indeed that in this season that there is nothing new under the sun. That right now in this season, all those who are under the sound of my voice, in this season, he is going about doing the same thing, sealing his people, bringing us back to the ancient path so that he will in turn deliver us from the time of wrath that is soon to come upon the whole entire earth. Last week, he narrowed it down a bit with respect to there being two manner of people. Either you're born from above or you're born from below. And showing us that either you are firstborn according to the flesh or you are firstborn born according to the Ruach. If you are firstborn born according to the Ruach, then what does that mean? That means that you are descended from Adam. Adam being the firstborn according to the Ruach. He was not born of flesh, he was not born of the corrupt seed of man. He was born of Ruach. Indeed, this is why Yahushua is called the second Adam, because he was not born according to the corrupt seed of man, but rather he was born according to Ruach. And those who are indeed his firstborn, who are truly his firstborn, are reborn in like manner, not of the corrupt seed of man, but of water and of Ruach. Those, as he is revealed to us, who are born according to the flesh, are seed of the wicked one. They are the seed of Cain, of Cain. They are the seed of Nimrod, of Namrud, who is the rebellious one, the 13th from Adam, who was the first after the flood to rebel. They are born according to his kind. They are born according to the kind of Esau, who was also born, firstborn according to the flesh. They are born according to the kind of Ishmael, who was also born according to the flesh. Indeed, there are only two manner of people, firstborn according to Ruach, firstborn according to the flesh. And in this season, it is imperative that we understand what that sealing means, who that sealing is, and that sealing indeed is the Ruach HaKadosh, whereby after receiving him, we become what? Firstborn according to the Ruach. And in accordance with the righteous Torah, it is only these in whom he is going to redeem. And it is only these in whom he is going to redeem and deliver from the hour of trial, which is shortly to come upon the earth. Last week, he took us to Exodus chapter 12. And he showed us Mashrayim. He showed us the paradigm within Mashrayim. And he brought to our attention that in this season, there's nothing new. Indeed, the earth is Egypt. The earth is Mashrayim. Yes, it is. And Pharaoh is Hashatan. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. He is Parah. Egypt, what does it represent? It represents sin. It represents crime. It represents bondage. It represents the flesh. Yes, it does. And Pharaoh, who is Hashatan, is what? Is master of the flesh. And so in the dynamic of Egypt, in Exodus 12, what we found was the firstborn, according to the flesh, who were the descendants of Cain. Yes, they were, who were seed of the wicked one. And we found the firstborn born according to the Ruach, which was Adam, who was the firstborn, according to the flesh, and by extension, Yasha'al, YAHUAH'S, who represents Adam. And in that dynamic, we saw how the dam, the blood, how they were sealed, by the dam. And as they were sealed by the dam, destruction, the destroyer, passed over them. Indeed, there's nothing new under the sun. He is still sealing his firstborn son by the dam. Or do you not understand, Mashpaka, that the shed dam is only for his firstborn son, Adam? It's not for Cain. No, it ain't. No, it is not for those born according to the flesh. If it were for those born according to the flesh, then the firstborn of Egypt would not have perished. It is not for them. The dam is only for those who are born according to Ruach. It is only for his firstborn son, Adam. He didn't come for nobody else. He came for Adam. And by extension, YAHUAH, who is the representation of Adam. So he showed us last week how his firstborn son was sealed by the dam in accordance with his promise. They were sealed by the dam, by the blood, by the dam of the everlasting covenant. He ain't made no covenant with nobody else outside of his firstborn son. No, he hasn't. No, he hasn't. He ain't made no covenant outside of YAHUAH, who is the representation of Adam. And so they were sealed by the dam of the covenant, the firstborn according to the flesh. He showed us that in that text that it is said that the dam was what? A sign forever. It was a sign, an everlasting sign. The dam upon the doorpost was an everlasting sign. He showed us last week that the Hebrew or Aba'it word for sign is the Hebrew word ayuf. Ayuf. Aleph, U, and Ta. Aleph, U, and Ta. We understand that again, Aleph is represented by an ox and power. This alludes to YAHUAH. This points towards YAHUAH. We understand that the U is represented by a nail or a tent peg, and it alludes to something that affixes or joins. The Ta is always indicative of covenant. We understand that YAHUAH is the Aleph and the Ta. Yes, he is. He is the Aleph and the Ta, the beginning and the everlasting covenant. So what does that have to do with the Dam and the U that joins us? Indeed, it is the Dam that joins us into everlasting covenant with him. It is the Dam of the everlasting covenant that is shed only for his firstborn son. It is not shed for the firstborn according to the flesh. He showed us, furthermore, that the dam is representative of Ruach. Indeed, the Aba'it word for dam or blood is dam. Dalet mam. Dalet mam. Dalet means door. Not ironically, Dalet means door. It was placed upon the doorpost. Dalet means door, and mam is represented by water. Water always represents Ruach, a spirit. And so it is the dam that joins us into covenant, but by extension, it is the Ruach in which the dam represents that joins us into covenant with YAHUAH. He only renews his covenant with his firstborn sons. Indeed, it is the Ruach. It is the Ruach that joins us, that joins us into covenant with YAHUAH. How? And this is the firstborn according to Ruach. Because as a man enters a woman, and whereby they become one flesh, and whereby they become joined into covenant. In the same way, when the Ruach enters us as a man enters a woman, we become joined to YAHUAH in an everlasting covenant. It is the dam that seals. It is the Ruach that seals, because the dam represents Ruach. The dam represents Ruach. Nevertheless, continuing this walk along the ancient path, which if we walk it will save our lives, because we cannot walk the ancient path once more without being born of Ruach, without being a firstborn son, and walking the exact ancient path that our righteous fathers, our righteous ancestors walked, who too were not firstborn according to the flesh, but were indeed firstborn according to Ruach. Indeed, once more, he only redeems firstborn sons. This is Torah. This is Torah. Not firstborn according to the flesh, but firstborn according to the Ruach. So if you're taking notes this week as we continue this walk, this is Searching for the Ancient Path, Part 31. Searching for the Ancient Path, Part 31. Firstborn are perfect. Firstborn are perfect. Indeed, he demands that we be perfect. He demands that we be Tom. He demands that we be perfect even as he is perfect. He demands that we be Kadush as he is Kadush. And all firstborn sons born not according to the flesh, but according to the Ruach, are perfect, because a perfect one lives in them. And if a perfect one lives in us, then we are then enabled to be perfect as he is perfect. We are then enabled to do his will and his desire, because as we are perfect as he is perfect, whereby having his Ruach, whereby no one knows the mind of a man but the Ruach of a man, and whereby no one knows the mind of Yahuwah but the Ruach of Yahuwah. If we have the Ruach of Yahuwah in us, then he then begins to teach us and relate to us the very mind and the thoughts and the desires and the will of Yahuwah, whereby bringing us into the bond of covenant and making us pleasing and a well-pleasing aroma unto him. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Firstborn are perfect. Firstborn are perfect. And he's coming back for a perfect son. Yes, he is. He's coming back for a wave offering. Yes, he is. He's coming back for first fruits. Yes, he is. To present those first fruits on Mount Zion as a wave offering, well pleasing unto him, giving them a song that no one else, Barak Yahuwah, that no one else can sing. Barak Yahuwah, Barak Yahuwah, Barak Yahuwah. So once more this week, we continue this path, and we're going to read through a few precepts. But after we read through these precepts, because we're going to reestablish the fact that there are two manner of people, either your firstborn according to the Ruach or your firstborn according to the flesh. He's going to reestablish this and shove it down your throats until you are regurgitating it. He's going to shove it down until it's coming out of your nose, until it's coming out of your ears, until it's coming out of your eyes, until it's coming out of your pores, until it's coming out of every orifice in your body, until you understand that unless you are firstborn according to the Ruach, you are in grave danger. Grave danger. No different than the time before the flood, where the firstborn according to the flesh perished and the firstborn according to the Ruach lived. After he has reestablished this, we're going to once again move into the book of Bereshith, commonly called Genesis, and we're going to continue there looking at the righteous example of a firstborn son, Yaakov, our father. If you were born according to the Ruach, he is your father. We're going to continue looking at his example and looking at it with a magnifying glass and ensuring that our walk aligns with his. Because indeed, he was firstborn according to the Ruach, whereas Esau, Ashu, was firstborn according to the flesh. Was firstborn according to the flesh. So if you have your scriptures, turn now to Galatians chapter 4. If you have your scriptures, turn to Galatians, Barak Yahuwah. Galatians chapter 4. Galatians chapter 4.
21 to 31.
Verses 21 through 31. Galatians chapter 4, verse 21 through 31. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Beginning at verse 21, we read now.
Say to me, you who wish to be under Torah.
Say to me, you who wish to be under Torah. And if you're a Christian listening to this via YouTube, he's not talking about doing away with the Torah, what you call law. He's talking about circumcision, adult circumcision of the foreskin of the penis. This is what Galatians is all about. From start to finish, it's about circumcision. Go read it again. It's about circumcision. Say to me, you who want to be under the Torah. We understand in the book of Galatians that some Yahudim had come down to the Galatians, trying to teach them that in order to be delivered, that in order to be saved, that they had to undergo the circumcision of the flesh. Not understanding the matters of the Ruach, that it's not the circumcision of the flesh that is required, but the circumcision of the heart, whereby is the evidence of the Ruach HaKadosh entering us and circumcising the flesh of our wicked hearts and writing his Torah upon it, whereby giving us a love for Torah and a willingness to obey it. He's talking about the circumcision of the flesh, not the entirety of the Torah. Say to me, you who wish to be under the Torah, read.
Do you not hear the Torah?
Do you not hear the Torah?
For it has been written.
For it has been written.
That Abraham had 2 sons.
Abraham had 2 sons. Read.
One by a female servant.
One by a female servant born according to the flesh. This is Ishmael, the firstborn according to the flesh of Abraham. Read.
The other by a free woman.
The other by a free woman. Oh, whom the Son sets free is free indeed. How does he set us free? By sending his righteous Ruach to dwell in us, whereby setting us free from the bond of crime. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Read.
But he who was of the female servant.
But he who was of the female servant.
Was born according to the flesh.
Oh, they didn't believe me. He was what?
But he who was of the female servant was born according to the flesh.
Oh, indeed. Either you were firstborn according to the flesh, or firstborn according to the Ruach. Read.
And he of the free woman.
Yes.
Through promise.
Through promise. Through what promise? The promise of the Ruach. The promise of the Ruach. Read.
This is allegorical. But these are the 2 covenants.
These are the 2 covenants. The covenants at Mount Sinai and the renewed everlasting covenant that was renewed once and for all by the shed dam of Yahushua HaMashiach. Read.
One indeed from Mount Sinai, which brings forth slavery.
Which brings forth slavery. Why? Because the circumcision of the flesh represents Mount Sinai. The flesh is bondage. The flesh is slavery, whereby those who live according to the flesh are going to die. The firstborn according to the flesh are going to die, but the firstborn according to the Ruach is going to live. Read.
Which is Hagar.
Which is Hagar, the bondwoman, the slave woman who represents the flesh, who represents death, who represents Egypt. Was she not an Egyptian? Yes, she was. I told you Egypt represents crime and sin and bondage. She was an Egyptian. Egypt represents all of this. And those who are born, who still operate in the flesh, are her seed. And by extension, going all the way back to the beginning to Cain, the firstborn according to the flesh. Read.
For this Hagar is Mount Sinai.
For this Hagar is Mount Sinai.
And Arabia. And corresponds to Jerusalem.
The Jerusalem below. Come on, is that not what it says?
Which now is, and is the slavery with her children.
The one below, which now is, and is in slavery with her children, because they are born according to the flesh. Come on, read.
But the Jerusalem above is free.
Oh, the Jerusalem above is free. Read.
Which is the mother of us all.
Which is the mother of us all, provided that you are born from her. Whomever you are born from is your mother. Is she not? Yes, she is. If you are born from below, the Jerusalem from below is your mother. If you are born from above, the Jerusalem above is your mother, and you are firstborn according to the Ruach, and you are a son of promise. You are a son of the inheritance. Read.
For it has been written, Rejoice, O barren,
Come
you
on.
who do not bear. Break forth and shout,
Yes.
you who do not have birth pains.
Yes.
For the deserted one has many more children than she who has a husband. And we, brothers, as Ishkak was,
And we, brothers, as Itzchak was,
are children of promise.
are children of promise. We are the children of the Ruach. Ishkak was born of Ruach. He was not born of flesh and blood. He was born of Ruach. He was the firstborn according to the Ruach, according to the promise, who is the Ruach. Read.
But as he who was born according to the flesh,
But as he who was born according to the flesh,
then persecuted him born according to the Ruach,
then persecuted him born according to the Ruach,
so also now.
so also now. You will always find this. You will always find the firstborn who was born according to the flesh persecuting the firstborn according to the Ruach. We found this with Cain and Abel. The firstborn according to the flesh persecuting the firstborn according to the Ruach. Yes, Abel was born according to the Ruach. Abel was reborn according to the Ruach, like you and I are reborn according to the Ruach. Adam was born according to the Ruach, and everyone after him was reborn according to the Ruach, beginning with Abel, and then also with Seth, Ashah. And as we find in Egypt, as the firstborn according to the flesh, then persecuted the firstborn according to the Ruach. We always find this. Why did they persecute? Why did the firstborn according to the flesh? We also find this with Esau and Jacob, or Ashu and Jacob. Why do we find this? Why do we find this dynamic? Because the firstborn according to the flesh, listen, here it is. Here it is. The firstborn according to the flesh envies the firstborn according to the Ruach. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. They don't believe me. We're going to give them some precepts. The firstborn according to the flesh, not only does he misunderstand the firstborn according to the Ruach, he can't understand him because he's from below and we're from above. But he also envies him. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Come on, give him some precepts, little one. Ishmael, and what we find here is that Ishmael persecuted Yitzchak. Why? Because he was envious of him. Yes, he was. He was envious that Yitzchak was the son of promise, that Yitzchak was the son of inheritance, and he was envious of him, and he desired to kill him. When you read the book of Jasher, it tells us there that he took a bow and an arrow, and he was going to slay him because he was envious of him. No different than Cain and Abel. He envied him because he was the son of promise and he was not. Give them some precepts. They don't believe us.
James 3:13 through 18.
James 3:13 through 18. Let's give them time to get it. YAHUAH'S 3:13 through 18. YAHUAH'S 3:13 through 18. YAHUAH'S, James 3 verses 13 through 18. YAHUAH'S, James 3 verses 13 through 18. Beginning at verse 13. Read, little one.
Who is wise and understanding among you?
Who is wise and understanding among you?
Let him show by his good behavior.
Let him show by his good behavior.
His works in meekness of wisdom.
His works in meekness of wisdom. Kakma.
But if you have bitter jealousy. And self-seeking in your heart. Do not boast against and lie against the truth.
Do not boast and lie against the truth. The Ruach HaKadosh. Come on.
This is not the wisdom coming down from above.
This is not the wisdom coming down from above.
But it is earthly.
Unspiritual. Demonic.
For where jealousy and self-seeking are.
Envy and self-seeking are.
There is confusion in every foul deed.
Indeed. Read.
But the wisdom from above is first clean. Then shalom-like. Gentle. Ready to obey. Filled with compassion. And good fruits. Without partiality. And without hypocrisy. And the fruit of righteousness. Is sown in shalom. By those who make shalom.
So, envy is from below. Yes, it is. It's according to the firstborn, according to the flesh. As Ishmael envied Yitzchak and wanted to kill him because he was the son of promise. Yes, he did. Out of the mouth of two or more witnesses, let every matter be established. Read, little one.
Matthew 27:17 to 18.
Matthew 27, which verse?
17 to 18.
17 and 18. Matthew, Matat Yahu. Matthew chapter 27, verses
17 to 18.
17 and 18. Barak Yahuwah. For those of you who still use the index, Barak Yahuwah. Matat Yahu is the first book in the Bashorah. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Matak Yahu, Matthew chapter 27, verse 17 and 18. Beginning at verse 17, read.
So when they were assembled,
Yes.
Pilate said to them,
Yes.
Who do you wish I release to you?
Who? He's talking to the Pharisees. He's talking to the people, the firstborn according to the flesh. Read.
Barabbas or Yahusha, who is called Mashiach. For he knew that because of envy, they had delivered him up.
But he knew because of envy, they delivered him up. The firstborn according to the flesh always envy the firstborn according to the Ruach, because we're the children of promise. They always envy. The Pharisees were firstborn according to the flesh. Yahusha was firstborn according to the Ruach. And so they always envy us and persecute us. Where there is persecution, you can guarantee that they are firstborn according to the flesh. They are children of Cain. They are children of the devil. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Give them another precept, little one.
Bereshit, or Genesis 4:3-8.
Genesis, the first book. Genesis, Bereshit. Genesis, Bereshit. The 4th chapter, verses
3-8.
3-8. Genesis, Bereshit. The 4th chapter, verses 3-8. Where you find envy and jealousy and self-seeking, where you want a platform, that is firstborn according to the flesh. That is not the firstborn according to the Ruach. No, it isn't. The firstborn according to the Ruach is what? Is meek, gentle, and mild, not looking for a platform, not looking for a position, not always running their mouths, but the firstborn according to the flesh seeks all those things. Yes, they do, and they envy those who are born according to the Ruach. Read, little one.
And it came to be in the course of time that Cain brought an offering of the fruit of the ground to Yahuwah.
Cain brought an offering of the fruit of the ground to Yahuwah. Now here, he's automatically out of order because he was supposed to do what? In accordance with Torah, bring the first fruits of the soil. He didn't bring the first fruits of the soil. He merely just brought what he wanted to bring him. See, that's what the firstborn according to the flesh does. Oh, there is a way that seems right to a man, but its end is destruction. See, he didn't follow Torah because he was firstborn according to the flesh. He brought whatever he wanted to bring and not the first fruit from the soil. Read that again, little one.
And it came to be in the course of time that Cain brought an offering of the fruit of the ground to Yahuwah.
He brought an offering of the fruit of the ground. He didn't bring the first fruit. But Abel, what did he do?
And Habal also brought of the firstborn of his flock.
Of the firstborn, of the first fruits of his flock. Read.
And of their fat. And Yahuwah looked to Habal and his offering, but he did not look to Cain and his offering. And Cain was very wroth.
And Cain was very wroth. In other words, he envied Habal because Yahuwah accepted Habal's offering and did not accept his. I told you, firstborn according to the flesh always envies and persecutes the firstborn according to the Ruach. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Read, little one.
And his face fell.
And his face fell.
And Yahuwah said to Cain, Why is he wroth towards you? And why is your face fallen? Is it not if you do good, you are to be accepted? And if you do not do good, towards the door is a crime. He is lying, and towards you is his desire, and you must rule over him. And Cain told Habal his brother, and it came to be when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Habal his brother and killed him.
And killed him. Why? Because he envied him. He was jealous of him. This is the common denominator between the firstborn according to the flesh and the firstborn according to the Ruach. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So understand that all who say they are YAHUAH'S are not YAHUAH'S. Observe the fruit. Observe the fruit. The fruit can't lie. The fruit can't lie. It cannot lie. And sooner or later, their hearts are going to find them out. Their hearts, sooner or later, are going to find them out. Indeed, there are two manner of folk. Either you're firstborn according to the flesh or firstborn according to the Ruach. He killed Habal because he envied him. Ishmael wanted to kill Ishak because he envied him. The Pharisees killed Yahusha because they envied him. The firstborn according to the flesh killed firstborn according to the Ruach because they envied them. Read, little one.
Galatians 5:19-23.
Galatians 5, Galatians 5. Galatians 5. Galatians chapter 5, verse 19 through 23. Galatians 5, verse 19 through 23. Some of you got envy in your heart. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Some of you got envy in your heart. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Tell the truth. Yes, you do. Some of you got envy in your heart. Galatians 5. And by their fruits you shall know them. Galatians 5, chapter 19, verse 20. Galatians 5, verses 19 through 23. Galatians 5, Galatians, verses 19 through 23. Beginning at verse 19, we read here.
And the works of the flesh are well known.
And the works of the flesh are well known. The firstborn according to the flesh are well known. Read.
Which are these?
Which are these.
Adultery, whoring, uncleanness, indecency, idolatry, drug sorcery, hatred,
as Cain hated Abel, as Esau hated Jacob, as Ishmael at one time hated Yitzchak, as the Pharisees hated Yahushua. Hatred, read.
Hatred, quarrels, jealousies.
Oh, jealousy, read.
Fits of rage, selfish ambition,
self-seeking, selfish ambition. You always want a platform. You want to be seen. You want to be heard. You want position. You're not calm. You're not quiet. You're not meek and gentle and quiet. You're not perfect. You're firstborn according to the flesh. Read.
Dissensions, factions,
envies,
murders.
I told you, the firstborn according to the flesh always persecutes the firstborn according to the Ruach because they envy them. They envy us. Read.
Drunkenness, wild parties, and the like of which I forewarn you, even as I also said before.
Come on.
That those who practice such as these shall not inherit the reign of Elohim.
Shall not inherit the reign of Elohim. Why? Oh, Barak Yahuwah, because the seed of the bondwoman shall not inherit with my son, the son of promise, the firstborn according to the Ruach. Flesh and blood will not inherit the reign of... Oh, we're talking about inheritance, which goes to the firstborn. Flesh and blood, firstborn according to the flesh, will not inherit. Only those born of Ruach. Only firstborn sons born of Ruach. And only firstborn sons born of Ruach are going to escape the time of trial, which is soon to come upon this earth. Read.
But the fruit of the root.
Oh, but the fruit of the root. Come on.
Is love. Joy. Shalom. Patience. Kindness. Goodness. Trustworthiness. Gentleness. Self-control. Against such there is no Torah.
And if you're a Christian listening via YouTube, this means against which there is no judgment. There is no penalty prescribed in the Torah against behaving this way. Oh, go learn something. It does not mean that Shaul preached against the Torah. He operated in Torah. Go read his words. Start with Acts 21. He practiced and taught the Torah. Yes, he did. Nevertheless, Barak Yahuwah, read, little one. Listen. Hashatan, who is the father of all firstborn, according to the flesh. Listen. He is the father of all firstborn according to the flesh. He was the father of Cain, not physically, because Adam knew Kua, and she conceived and bore Cain. But according to the Ruach, Hashatan entered Cain. He entered his heart, and whereby he became his father. In the same way that Yahuwah becomes our father. How? By his Ruach. When he enters us, he becomes our father, and we become his children. We don't have his Ruach, we're not. We do not belong to him. In the words of Shaul in Romans chapter 8, verse 9, if we don't have his ruach, we don't belong to him. And so in the same way, Cain became the child of Hashatan, a seed of the wicked one, via his ruach entering his heart. So Hashatan is the father of all the sons, all the firstborn sons according to the flesh. And just like his children, like father, like children. You see, he envied Yahuwah. Yes, he did. He envied him. And tried to exalt his throne above his, because he envied his father. And he tried to exalt his throne above his. And all his children, the firstborn according to the flesh, they do the same thing. They envy. They envy the firstborn according to the ruach. And what do? Try to exalt themselves above them. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Going back now to Galatians chapter 4, let's finish reading that little one.
4:30. But what does the scripture say? Cast out the female servant.
Oh, cast out the female servant, the one born according to the flesh, the firstborn according to the flesh. Because why? Come on.
And her son.
For
the son of the female servant.
Shall
by no means be heir with the son of the free woman.
Shall by no means be heir with the son of the free woman. The firstborn according to the flesh are not going to be redeemed from the hour of trial. They are going to be destroyed. And the firstborn according to the flesh will not inherit the reign of Elohim. Only the firstborn according to the Ruach. We talk about Torah. Yes, Torah. Torah is righteousness. And only the righteous will inherit. But you cannot do righteousness. You cannot obey the righteous Torah unless it's been written upon your heart by the finger of Elohim, by his righteous Ruach. Don't get this twisted. Read, little one.
Therefore, brothers, we are not children of the female servant. But of the free woman. Therefore, brothers, we are not children of the female servant, but of the free woman.
But of the free woman. Provided that you're born from the free woman. Provided that you're born from Shirah. Provided that you're born from the Jerusalem above. Either you are firstborn according to the Ruach, or you are firstborn according to the flesh. And in accordance with Torah, he only redeems firstborn sons born according to the Ruach, and he is only coming to redeem firstborn sons coming according to the Ruach from the hour of trial that is soon to come upon the earth. Read, little one.
John 6.
John, YAHUAH'S chapter 6. Turn now to YAHUAH'S John chapter 6, and we're going to read this chapter in its entirety. I told you to get to a comfortable place because we're not going to cut corners. We're not going to cut corners today. YAHUAH'S chapter 6. John chapter 6. YAHUAH'S chapter 6. And we're going to read it in its entirety. I think there's like 72 verses, but we're going to read every last one of them. YAHUAH'S chapter 6. John chapter 6. Beginning at verse 1, we read.
After this, Yahushua went away to the other side of the Sea of Galilee, that is Lake Carnarath, and a large crowd was following him, because they saw his signs which he did on those who were sick.
Oh, a large crowd followed him, because they saw the signs that he performed on those who were sick. They saw something. Read.
And Yahushua went up on a mountain, and there he sat down with his taught ones. And the Pesach was near, the festival of the Yahudim. Then Yahushua, lifting up his eyes and seeing a large crowd coming toward him, said to Philip, "Where shall we buy bread for them to eat?" And this he said, trying him, for he himself knew what he would do. Philip answered him, 200 denarii worth of bread is not sufficient for them, for every one of them to receive a little. One of his taught ones, Andre, the brother of Shimeon Kapha, said to him, "Here is a boy who has 5 barley loaves and 2 fishes. But what are these for so many?" And Yahushua said, "Make the people sit down." Now there was much grass in the place, and the men, numbering about 5,000, sat down. And Yahushua took the loaves, and having given thanks, he distributed them to the taught ones, and the taught ones to those sitting down. And the same with the fish, as much as they wished. And when they were filled, he said to his taught ones, "Gather the broken pieces that are left over, so that none gets wasted." So they gathered them and filled 12 baskets with broken pieces of 5 barley loaves, which were left over by those who had eaten. Then the men, having seen the sign that Yahushua said, "This is truly the Nabi who is coming to the world." Then Yahushua, knowing that they were about to come and seize him, that they might make him sovereign, withdrew again to the mountain alone by himself. And when evening came, his taught ones went down to the sea. And entering into the boat, they were going over the sea toward Karpar Nakum. And it had already become dark, and Yahushua had not yet come to them. And the sea was rising because a great wind was blowing. When they had rowed about 25 or 30 stadia, they saw Yahushua walking on the sea and coming near the boat, and they were afraid. And he said to them, "It is I, do not be afraid." They wished therefore to take him into the boat.
Oh, I just stop just a minute. Oh, my Father. This is the son of Adam. Understand this. This is Yahuwah in flesh, but he came to represent the son of Adam to show you what you can do. If you are the son of Yahuwah, where is the limitation? Listen, if you are a son or a daughter of Yahuwah, where is the limitation? There is none. There is no limitation. If you are truly a visible image of the invisible Elohim, if you are truly sons and daughters of Yahuwah Al Shaddai. Read, little one.
They wished therefore to take him into the boat, and at once the boat was at the land where they were going. On the next day, the crowd that was standing on the other side of the sea saw that there was no other boat there except that one in which his taught ones had
so
entered.
the next day they noticed that they were gone. They had just got their bellies filled. They was hungry, and now they just got their bellies filled. And now they noticed that they're not around anymore. Where did they go? They fed us. Let's find out where they're at. Read, little one.
And that Yahushua had not entered the boat with his taught ones, but his taught ones went away alone. But other boats came from Karanath, near the place where they ate bread after the master had given thanks. Therefore, when the crowd saw that Yahushua was not there, nor his taught ones, they themselves also entered into the boat and came to Kafar Nakum, seeking Yahushua. And having found him on the other side of the sea, they asked him, "Rabbi, when did you come here?" Yahushua answered them and said, "Truly, truly, I say to you, you seek me not because you saw signs, but because you ate of the loaves and were satisfied."
Oh, because you ate of the loaves and were satisfied. Once again, he's exposing firstborn according to the flesh. Yes, he is. Firstborn according to the flesh. They were not seeking him because of the signs, because he was the son of Adam, but they were seeking him in accordance with their flesh. No different than Esau, who sold his birthright for food. Here we see again the firstborn according to the flesh. Who what? Who seek Yahuwah, not because he is Yahuwah, but because of what he can do for them. They seek him for the cars. They seek him for the houses. They seek him for the clothing. They seek him for the esteem. They seek him for the food. Yes, this is the firstborn according to the flesh, in whom some who are amongst us are those. You don't seek him because of who he is. You seek him for his stuff. You seek him for his stuff. Oh, you ought to be ashamed of yourself because you're pimping him. You're pimping him. You're seeking him for his stuff. But I'm not surprised because you're firstborn according to the flesh. Here is what Yahushua is identifying here. These people are firstborn according to the flesh. Read, little one.
Do not labor for the food that is perishing.
Oh, listen to him teach. Do not labor for the food that is perishing. Come on.
But for the food that is remaining to everlasting life.
Oh, but for the food that remains for everlasting life. What is this food? Oh, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I got to tell you, it's the Ruach HaKadosh. Come on, read.
Which the son of Adam shall give you.
Oh, give you what? The promise. The Ruach HaKadosh. Come on, read. The sealing. The dam. Come on, read.
For the Father Elohim has set his seal on him.
Oh, didn't we just speak? I didn't speak nothing. I ever said it. Didn't he just say seal?
Yes, sir.
Come on, read. What is the seal? The dam. The Ruach HaKadosh. Come on, read.
So they said to him, what should we do to work the works of Elohim?
What shall we do to work the works of Elohim? Read.
Yahushua answered and said to them, This is the work of Elohim.
This is the work of Elohim.
That you believe in him whom he sent.
That you believe in him whom he sent. Why? Because if you believe in him whom he sent, you will be able to do the works of Elohim. Because if you believe in him, out of your belly shall flow rivers of living water. Oh, Barak Yahuwah. Come on, read.
So they said to him, What sign then would you do, so that they would see and believe you? What would you do? Our fathers ate the manna in the wilderness.
Oh, come on.
As it has been written. He gave them bread out of the heaven to eat.
Yes.
Therefore Yahushua said to them, Truly, truly, I say to you, Masha did not give you the bread out of heaven, but my Father gives you the true bread out of heaven.
Oh, my Father gives you the true lakam shamayim, the bread from Shamayim, who is the Ruach HaKadosh. Come on, read.
For the bread of Elohim is he who comes down out of heaven.
Oh, if you don't have the Ruach of the Messiah, this one is not his. Come on, read.
And gives life to the world.
Oh, it is the Ruach that gives life. Come on, read.
So they said to him, Master, give us this bread always. And Yahushua said to them, I am the bread of life.
I am the bread of life. I am the Ruach HaKadosh. Come on, read.
He who comes to me shall not get hungry at all.
He who comes to me shall not get hungry at all.
And he who believes in me shall not get thirsty at all.
And he who believes in me shall not get thirsty at all. Read.
But I said to you that you have seen me and still do not believe.
Come on.
All that the Father gives me shall come to me. And the one who comes to me I shall by no means cast out.
I shall by no means cast out. If you come to him, oh, how Barak Yahuwah. If you hunger and thirst for righteousness, you shall be filled. If you come to him with the right heart, he will fill you, and you will become firstborn according to the Ruach. Read.
Because I have come down out of heaven not to do my own desire, but the desire of him who sent me. This is the desire of the Father who sent me, that all he has given me I should not lose of it, but should raise it in the last day.
Snatch them out of my hand. My Father who is greater than me, and no one shall snatch them out of his hands. Come on, read.
And this is the desire of him who sent me, that everyone who sees the Son and believes in him should possess everlasting life.
What is everlasting life? Yahuwah is everlasting life. He is the Ruach HaKadosh. Come on, read.
And I shall raise him up in the last day. Therefore the Yahudim were grumbling against him, because he said, I am the bread which came down out of heaven.
Oh, watch him teach. Come on.
And they said, is not this Yahushua, the son of Yahusuf, whose father and mother we know? How is it then that he says, I have come down out of heaven? Then Yahushua answered and said to them, do not grumble with one another. No one is able to come to me unless the Father who sent me draws him.
Thank you, Abba. Come on.
And I shall raise him up in the last day. It has been written in the prophets, and they shall all be taught by Yahuwah. Everyone then who has heard from that Father and learned comes to me. Not that anyone has seen the Father except him who is from Elohim. He has seen the Father. Truly, truly, I say to you, he who believes in me possesses everlasting life. Stay in the room. I am the bread of life. Your fathers ate the manna in the wilderness and they died. This is the bread which comes down out of heaven, so that anyone might eat of it and not die. I am the living bread which came down out of the heaven.
I am the living Lakam, the Lakam Shamayim, which came down. I am the Ruach HaKadosh. Read.
If anyone eats of this bread, he shall live forever.
Come on.
And indeed, the bread that I shall give is my flesh,
Yes.
which I shall give for the life of the world.
Come on.
The Yahudim therefore were striving with one another, saying, how is this one able to give us his flesh to eat? Yahusha said to them, truly, truly, I say to you,
What?
unless you eat the flesh of the son of Adam and drink his blood,
Yes.
you possess no life in
You
yourselves.
possess no life in yourselves. The life of the creature is in his dung. Oh, he's going about sealing by the dung, by the Ruach HaKadosh. He's going about sealing those who are eating his flesh and drinking the dung of the everlasting covenant, the seal of redemption, who is the Ruach HaKadosh. He's going about the business as we speak, sealing them who have eyes to see and ears to hear and a heart to understand. Unless you eat of my flesh and drink of my blood, you have no part in me. See, they didn't understand he was talking about the Ruach HaKadosh. But we do. Barak Yahuwah. Read.
He who eats my flesh and drinks my blood
Yes.
possesses everlasting life.
Possesses everlasting life, because it is Yahuwah who is everlasting. It is Yahuwah who is Chai. It is Yahuwah who is life. It is the Ruach who gives life. Read.
And I shall raise him up in the last day. For my flesh is truly food.
Yes, it is.
And my blood is truly drink.
Oh, the dam of the everlasting covenant, which we enter into covenant with Yahuwah by the dam of the everlasting covenant, which represents Ruach, when the Ruach enters us. Read.
He who eats my flesh and drinks my blood.
Oh, eat him. You better get him in you. You better get him in you. You better get the Ruach HaKadosh in you. You better get him in you, or you have no life in you. You are a dead man walking, and you're not firstborn according to the Ruach, and you're going to be left here to deal with the time of trial, which is going to be a time unlike the earth has ever seen before. And if those days are not shortened, no flesh is going to remain. Read.
Stays in me and I in him. As the living Father sent me, and I live because of the Father, so he who feeds on me shall live because of me.
Yes.
This is the bread which came down out of heaven.
A Ruach. Come on.
Not as your fathers ate the manna and died.
Yes.
He who eats this bread shall live forever.
Yes.
He said this in a congregation teaching in Kafar Nakum. Therefore many of his taught ones, having heard, said, this word is hard. Who is able to hear it?
This word is hard. Who is able to hear it? What does he mean, the Ruach HaKadosh? Getting the Ruach HaKadosh in you. What does he mean, having your heart circumcised, your wicked heart circumcised, and having the righteous Torah written upon it, whereby giving you a love for it and a willingness to obey it? What does he mean, being Torah made flesh, being a living Torah, being a visible image of the invisible Elohim? What does he mean? What is he talking about by those greater works, by those uncommon signs and wonders? What does he mean that Yahusha was a mere example to the children of Elohim, that showed that if the Ruach of Elohim lives in us, then the reign of Elohim has come to the earth, and that there is no limitations to those who walk in Ruach and in truth. Walking on water is a small thing. Is a small thing. What does he mean? Read, little one.
But Yahusha, knowing within himself that his taught ones were grumbling about this, said to them, does this make you stumble? What if you see the son of Adam going up where he was before? It is the root that gives life. The flesh does not profit at all.
It is the Ruach that gives life. The flesh profits nothing. He's talking about Ruach the whole time. He's talking about dam. He's talking about blood. We're talking about sealing. Are we not? Yes, we are. We're talking about being sealed by the dam, being sealed by the Ruach, and being kept from the hour of trial that is soon to come upon the earth. Come on, read.
The words that I speak to you are root and are life.
And are life. Read.
But there are some of you who do not believe.
Oh, man. Is he talking? Is he teaching? Because he's speaking to a lot of folk on YouTube, and he's speaking to some in Zoom. Come on, read that again. Read it again.
But there are some of you who do not believe.
There are some of you who do not believe.
For Yahusha knew from the beginning who they were who did not believe and who would deliver him up. And he said, because of this I have said to you that no one is able to come to me unless it has been given to him by my Father. From then on, many of his taught ones withdrew and were not walking with him anymore. Yahusha therefore said to the 12, do you also wish to go away? Then Shamma'un Kapha answered him.
Oh, come on.
Master,
yes.
where shall we go?
Where shall we go?
You possess the words of everlasting life.
You possess the words of everlasting life.
And
the words, the Dabarim, which is Ruach. You possess the words of everlasting life. Come on.
And we have believed, and we know that you are the Mashiach,
yes,
the Son of the living Elohim.
The Son of the living Elohim.
Yahusha answered them, have I not chosen you the 12? And one of you is a devil. He was now speaking of Yehuda from Karauf, the son of Shamun, for he, one of the 12, was about to deliver him up.
Why does this messenger keeps pressing about being born from above, about being firstborn according to the Ruach and come out of your flesh? Why does he keep talking about this? Because there is nothing more important in this Mu'adah than being born from above, being firstborn according to the Ruach and coming back to this ancient path. There is nothing more important in this Mu'adah. Because if you stay in your flesh, you're going to die. You're going to die. The firstborn, according to the flesh, will not inherit with the seed of promise, with the seed of the free woman, will not inherit. And the firstborn, according to the flesh, is not under Torah. They're not under Torah. He only redeems his firstborn sons according to the Ruach, which goes back to Adam and passes down through all of those righteous men to Habal and Self, and through all of those righteous men, through Kanuk and Methuselah, and through Noach, and through Sham, and through Eber, and through Abraham, and Iskak, and Yaakov, and through Yahusuf and Ephraim, down through Yahusha himself. He's only coming to redeem the firstborn according to the Ruach. He's not coming to redeem the seed of the devil, those who are born according to the flesh. He's not coming to redeem them. So there is no more important message. There is no more important message than the message that you're hearing from the mouth of his servant, from his messenger, Shabbat after Shabbat after Shabbat. There is no more important message than this. Read, little one.
Matthew 26.
Matthew
28.
Matthew 26, verses
26 to 28.
Matthew 26, verses 26 through 28. Matat Yahu, verses 26 through 28. This is a precept to John 6, what we just read. Matat Yahu, Matthew, chapter 26, verses
26 to 28.
26 to 28. Barak Yahuwah.
Barak Yahuwah.
Beginning at verse 26. We read.
And as they were eating, Yahusha took bread and having blessed, broke and gave it to the taught ones and said,
yes,
take, eat, this is my body. And taking the cup and giving thanks, he gave it to them, saying, drink from it, all of you, for this is my blood, that of the renewed covenant. That of the renewed covenant. Which is shed for many for the forgiveness of crime. Which is shed for many for the forgiveness of crime. It is the dawn. It is the dam that has been given for the renewing of the covenant. And we understand that the dam is representative of Ruach. It is the Ruach that seals us. It is the dam that seals us. It is he whom seals us. And when the dam is applied to us, which is symbolic of Ruach entering us, we then at that moment enter into covenant with Yahuwah, and we become firstborn sons, born not of flesh, not of blood, but of water and of Ruach. And it is these whom he's coming to deliver and to save from the hour of trial. Read, little one. We got John 1, 10 to 13. John chapter 1. Is it 1 John or just John chapter 1? This one's just John. Yahuwah in chapter 1. John chapter 1.
YAHUAH'S chapter 1. You're going to hear this until it comes out of your ears, until it comes out of your noses, until it comes out of your eyes, until it comes out of your pores, until it comes out of your mouth. You're going to hear this because there is no more important message than this in this Mu'adah. John 1, chapter 1, verses
10 to 13.
10 through 13. Beginning at verse 10, we read,
He was in the world, and the world came to be through him, and the world did not know him. He came to his own, and his own did not receive him.
And his own did not receive him.
But as many as received him,
received him,
to them he gave the authority. To become children of Elohim.
To become children of Elohim. Firstborn sons. How do we become firstborn sons and children of Elohim? Read.
To those believing in his name.
Yes.
Who were born not of blood.
Who were born not of blood.
Nor of the desire of flesh.
Nor of the desire of flesh.
Nor of the desire of man.
Nor of the desire of men.
But of Elohim.
But of Elohim. This goes back to the redemption of Adam. This goes back to the redemption of Adam. Not born according to the desired design of men, but who was born of Elohim. And we see this in the representation of Yahushua, who was not conceived of man, but was conceived of the Ruach. And unless we are reborn in like manner, whereby becoming firstborn sons, we will not be redeemed. And unless we are born this way, we cannot even begin to walk this ancient path. And unless we are walking the ancient path, which is the narrow path, which is Torah, which is the way that leads to everlasting life, which is the path which leads to Mount Zion. Unless we're walking that path, we're not going to Mount Zion. We're not going there. Read, little one.
1 John 5, 1 through 8.
1 John, first YAHUAH'S Allah, 1 John. And unless you're born from above, you can't be perfect. You can't be perfect. Yahuwah is perfect. Everything in Shamayim is perfect. And so him and us in him, we become like our righteous fathers. We become like Yaakov, who was perfect. We become like Yahushua, who was perfect. We become like Adam, who was born perfect. We become like Nuach. We become like Hanuk, who were all born according to the Ruach, who were firstborn sons according to the Ruach, and not according to the flesh. We cannot be perfect unless we're born of Ruach. Read, little one.
Everyone who believes that Yahushua is the Mashiach.
Everyone that believes that Yahushua is the Mashiach.
Has been born of Elohim.
Has been born of Elohim.
And everyone who loves the one bringing forth also loves the one having been born of him.
Read.
By this we know that we love the children of Elohim, when we love Elohim and guard his commands. In
Ruach and in truth, not according to the flesh. The flesh can't guard his commands. Read.
For this is the love for Elohim, that we guard his commands.
Yes.
And his commands are not heavy.
Yes.
Because everyone having been born of Elohim overcomes the world.
Yes.
And this is the overcoming that has overcome the world.
Yes.
Our belief, who is the one who overcomes the world, but he who believes that Yahushua is the son of Elohim.
Yes.
This is the one that came by water and blood.
This
Yahushua
is the one
Mashiach.
that came by water and by dawn. Both representative of Ruach. He came by Ruach. Understand, water represents Ruach. Dawn, blood, represents Ruach. He came by water and by dawn. Read.
Not only by water, but by water and blood.
But by water and dawn. Read.
And it is the Ruach who bears witness.
And it is the Ruach who bears witness. Why does he bear witness? Because he is water. He is dawn. And so he bears witness. He bears witness to himself. He bears witness to himself. Read.
Because the Ruach is the truth.
Because the Ruach is the truth.
Because there are three who bear witness.
There are three who bear witness.
The Ruach. And the water. And the blood. And the three are in agreement.
Yes. This is what identifies us as children of Elohim. The water, the Ruach, and the Dam. This is what identifies us. This is what bears witness that we are children of Elohim. That we are firstborn according to the flesh, according to the Ruach. And if we are firstborn according to the Ruach, we can then now walk this ancient path, which if we walk it, is going to lead us to Mount Zion, where we're going to be given a song that no one else can sing. Because it says, indeed, and we're going to read this momentarily, we're going to read it until it comes out of your noses and your ears and your mouths and your eyes. It is only the firstborn according to the flesh, according to the Ruach, whom he's going to deliver from the hour of trial that is soon to come upon the earth, in accordance with his righteous Torah, which more specifically is the 13th chapter of Exodus. Read, little one.
Zechariah 9, 11 to 12.
Zechariah chapter 9, verse 11 through 12.
New Living Translation.
No matter.
Okay.
Zechariah chapter 9. Zechariah chapter 9, verse 11 through 12. 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 Read, little one.
Because of the covenant I made with you.
Because of the covenant I made with you, which that covenant, we're not in covenant with him until he enters us as a man enters a woman by his dam, by his ruach. Read.
Sealed with blood.
Sealed. We're still talking about being sealed. We're still talking about being sealed. We're talking about, really, this is a continuation of the seal that was placed on the doorpost that caused our ancestors, the firstborn according to the Ruach, to escape the time of destruction. It is the Dam, it is the Ruach who seals us and who is going to keep us from the time, from the hour of trial. Read.
I will free your prisoners from death in a waterless dungeon.
I will free your children from death in a waterless dungeon. I will free your children from hell. Start over. Read that again so they get it.
Because of the covenant I made with you.
Because of the covenant I made with you.
Sealed with blood.
Sealed with Dam.
I will free your prisoners from death in a waterless dungeon.
I will free your children from death in a waterless dungeon. Barak Yahuwah. It is the Ruach. It is the Ruach who is going to deliver us from the hour of trial. It is the Ruach who enables us to walk the ancient path. He and he alone. It is he who brings us into the bond of covenant with Yahuwah. It is he whom the Dam, whom the blood of the everlasting covenant represents. Because who is the covenant? Yahuwah is the covenant. He is the Alaf and the Ta, the beginning and the everlasting covenant. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Read, little one.
Come back to the place of safety.
Come back to the place of safety, the ancient path, which you cannot walk unless you're born of Ruach. Read.
All you prisoners who still have hope.
All you prisoners who still have hope.
I promise this very day that I will repay 2 blessings for each of your troubles.
For each of your troubles. See, if you remain in your flesh, you're still a prisoner. Yes, you are. You're still in bondage. You're still in Egypt, where Hashatan is your taskmaster, where Hashatan is your master. Be born of Ruach and be set free. Barak Yahuwah. Read.
Ephesians 4:30.
Ephesians 4, verse 30. Ephesians 4, verse 30. Ephesians 4, verse 30. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 30. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 30. Read, little one.
And do not grieve the Kadosh Ruach of Elohim.
And do not grieve the Kadosh Ruach of Elohim.
By whom you were sealed.
By whom you were sealed.
For the day of redemption.
For the day of redemption. He is the sealing that's talked about in Revelation. He is the seal. The Dam is the seal. The Dam being smeared upon us, which is symbolic of Ruach. The seal of redemption. It is only he who is going to deliver us from the hour of trial, which is soon to come upon the earth. And it is only he who enables us to walk this ancient path, which is to walk, which is to obey Torah in Ruach and in truth. Read, little one.
Revelation 7, 1 through 8.
Revelation chapter 7, 1 through 8. I told you this is going to be pounded down your throats until it comes out of your noses and out of your ears and out of your eyes and out of your mouths and out of every pore in your body, because there is no more important message in this season, in this Muadah, than the one that you're hearing. Revelation, Kazum, chapter 7, verse 1 through 8. Revelation chapter 7, Kazum. Revelation chapter 7, verses 1 through 8. Read, little one.
And after this, I saw 4 messengers,
yes,
standing at the 4 corners of the earth,
yes,
holding the 4 winds of the earth,
yes,
that the wind should not blow on the earth,
yes,
nor on the sea,
yes,
nor on any tree.
Yes.
And I saw another messenger coming up from the rising of the sun.
What did he say?
Holding the seal of the living Elohim.
Holding the seal of the living Elohim. Mm-hmm.
And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 messengers, mm-hmm, to whom it was given to harm the earth and the sea, saying, mm-hmm, do not harm the earth, mm-hmm, nor the sea, mm-hmm, nor the trees, mm-hmm, until we have sealed the servants of our Elohim, mm-hmm, upon their foreheads
with the Ruach HaKadosh. Come on.
And I heard the number of those who were sealed, mm-hmm, 144,000, mm-hmm, sealed out of all the tribes of the children of Yasharal. Mm-hmm. Of the tribe of Yehuda, mm-hmm, 12,000 were sealed. Mm-hmm. Of the tribe of Rabu'im, mm-hmm, 12,000 were sealed. Mm-hmm. Of the tribe of Gad, mm-hmm, 12,000 were sealed. Mm-hmm. Of the tribe of Asher, mm-hmm, 12,000 were sealed. Mm-hmm. Of the tribe of Naphtali, mm-hmm, 12,000 were sealed. Mm-hmm. Of the tribe of Manasseh, mm-hmm, 12,000 were sealed. Mm-hmm. Of the tribe of Shimeon, mm-hmm, 12,000 were sealed. Mm-hmm. Of the tribe of Lewi, mm-hmm, 12,000 were sealed. Mm-hmm. Of the tribe of Yashakar, mm-hmm, 12,000 were sealed. Mm-hmm. Of the tribe of Zabaloon, mm-hmm, 12,000 were sealed. Mm-hmm. Of the tribe of YAHUAH'S, mm-hmm, 12,000 were sealed. Mm-hmm. Of the tribe of Benjamin, mm-hmm, 12,000 were sealed.
12,000 were sealed with the Ruach HaKadosh, not counting 144,000 men of Yasha'al sealed by the Ruach of Yahuwah, not counting the women and the little ones and the strangers attached to us. Sealed by the Dam, sealed by the Ruach HaKadosh, sealed in safely, sealed in shut, while the destroyer comes, while the proverbial flood waters come upon this earth, sealed and kept safe from the hour of trial. Read, little one.
Revelations 14, 1 through 5.
Revelation, Kazum chapter 14, verses 1 through 5. Kazum, Revelation chapter 14, verses 1 through 5. He's going to speak it through his messengers until you get tired of hearing it. Until, as our ancestors who asked for meat, as they asked for meat and they ate meat until meat was coming out of their noses. Indeed, this is meat that you're getting. And he is going to spew it, and he is going to speak it, and he is going to shove it down your throat until it's coming out of your proverbial noses. Revelation, Kazum, chapter 14, verses 1 through 5. Read, little one.
And I looked and saw a lamb standing on Mount Zion.
Yes.
And with him 144,000.
Yes.
Having his father's name written upon their foreheads.
Oh, having the seal of Elohim, having the Ruach HaKadosh. Read.
And I heard a voice out of the heaven,
mm-hmm,
like the voice of many waters.
Yes.
And like the voice of loud thunder. Mm-hmm. And I heard the sound of harpists playing their harps. Mm-hmm. And they sang a renewed song before the throne, and before the 4 living creatures and the elders. And no one was able to learn that song except the 144,000 who were redeemed from the earth.
Who were what?
Who were redeemed from the earth.
Who were what?
Who were redeemed from the earth.
He only redeems firstborn sons who are born not according to the flesh, but according to Ruach. This is Torah. He only redeems firstborn sons. He only redeems firstborn sons. And this is all that he's coming to get, to deliver from the hour of trial. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. There is no more important message in this season. There is no more important message in this Muadah. There are many messages going forth from a myriad of sources. But there is no more important of a message that is going forth from the mouth of his servant that you are hearing Shabbat after Shabbat in this Mu'adah. There is nothing more important than getting this, than literally getting this and eating this and getting the Ruach HaKadosh deep inside of you until he is pouring out of your pores, until he is coming out of your noses, until he is coming out of your ears and out of your eyes and out of your mouths and out of your bellies. Indeed, if we believe in him, out of our bellies shall flow rivers of living water. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. So Abba wanted to reestablish that. And he's going to keep on reestablishing that, because there is no more important of a message that needs to be spoken in this season. And so now that we know the requirements of being a firstborn, once again, of being a firstborn son, and now that we know that whom we're getting ready to read about, and that is YAHUAH'S, our righteous father, is a firstborn, was a firstborn, not according to the flesh, but according to the Ruach. Esau, Ashu, was firstborn according to the flesh. He, our father YAHUAH, was firstborn according to the Ruach. Now that we understand this, we're going to now continue and taking a look at his righteous example, understanding now that this is the example of a righteous one. This is the example of a lovingly committed one. This is the example of one not born according to the flesh, but one who was born according to the Ruach. And prayerfully, expectantly, we will align our lives with his as the Ruach gives us utterance. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. So this week, we're going to continue looking at YAHUAH. We're going to continue looking at the book of Bereshit, commonly called Genesis. And we're going to now begin in chapter 30. Chapter 30 of Bereshit, the book of Genesis, looking at the example of our righteous father, YAHUAH, who was firstborn according to the Ruach. Genesis chapter 30, Bereshit chapter 30, beginning at verse 1.
And when Rachel saw that she bore YAHUAH no children, Rachel envied her sister and said to YAHUAH, "Give me children, or else I am going to die." And YAHUAH's displeasure burned against Rachel, and he said, "Am I in the place of Elohim, who has withheld from you the fruit of the womb?"
Rachel here was what? She was in her flesh. Yes, she was. At this moment, not that she was born according to the flesh, but listen, just because you're born according to the Ruach doesn't mean that you're not going to have moments that you're going to be in your flesh. That simply means that we must strive at all times to put the flesh under the subjection of our feet and walk in Ruach, so that we do not give in to the sinful inclinations or desires of our wicked flesh. Right here, she had a weak moment. She was in her flesh, and she envied. All envy comes from the flesh. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Envy comes from the flesh. Read, little one.
And she said, "See, my female servant Bilhah, go into her and let her bear for me, and let me be built up from her as well." So she gave him Bilhah, her female servant, as wife, and YAHUAH went into her. And Bilhah conceived and bore YAHUAH a son. And Rachel said, "Elohim has rightly ruled my case, and has also heard my voice, and gave me a son." So
and
she
named
called
his name Dan.
Dan.
There it is. Kapha. Kapha. This is his name. This is what his name means. To rightly rule, to judge. This is what Dan means. Read, little one.
And Rachel's female servant Bilhah conceived again and bore YAHUAH a second son. And Rachel said, "With great wrestlings I have wrestled with my sister and have overcome." So she called his name Naphtali.
Naphtali.
And Laah saw that she had ceased bearing, and she took Zalpah, her female servant, and gave her to YAHUAH as wife. And Laah's female servant Zalpah bore YAHUAH a son. And Laah said, "Fortune comes." So she called his name Gad.
God.
God. And Laah's female servant Zilpah bore Yaakub a second son. And Laah said, I am happy, for the daughters shall call me happy. So she called his name Asher. And Rehoboam went in the days of wheat harvest and found love apples in the field and brought them to his mother Laah. And Rachel said to Laah, please give me some of your son's love apples. But she said to her, is it a small matter that you have taken away my husband? Would you take away my son's love apples too? And Rachel said, therefore let him lie with you tonight for your son's apples, love apples. And when Yaakub came out of the field in the evening, Laah went out to him and said, do come in to me, for indeed I have hired you with my son's love apples. And he lay with her that night. And Elohim listened to Laah, and she conceived and bore Yaakub a fifth son. And Laah said, Elohim has given me my hire, because I have given my female servant to my husband. So she called his name Issachar. And Laah conceived again and bore Yaakub a sixth son. And Laah said, Elohim has presented me with a good present. Now my husband is going to dwell with me, because I have borne him 6 sons. So she called his name Zabulun. And afterwards she bore a daughter and called her name Dana. And Elohim remembered Rachel, and Elohim listened to her and opened her womb. And she conceived and bore a son and said, Elohim has taken away my reproach. So she called his name YAHUAH'S and said, YAHUAH has added to me another son. And it came to be when Rachel had born YAHUAH'S that Yaakub said to Laban, send me on my way to go to my own place and to my land. Give me my wives and my children for whom I have served you, and let me go, for you yourself know my service which I have done for you.
Give me my wives and my children for whom I have served you. And for whom I have served you. He served for 14 years. This perfect man, this meek, mild, and gentle man. Although Laban was a wicked man and continually and consistently changed his wages, he did not quarrel with him. He did not quarrel. He did not argue with him. But instead, he behaved in a meek and mild, gentle manner, and he served him. And he served him. Those who are firstborn according to the Ruach, this is a trait. We are servants. We are servants. We are calm. We are meek. We are mild. We are gentle. We are quiet people. And we are servants. All of our righteous fathers were servants. Did not Yahushua say the son of Adam did not come to be served, but to serve? Yes, he did. Yes, he did. We are servants. This is a trait of someone born according to the Ruach, a firstborn son according to the Ruach. Read, little one.
And Laban said to him, if please I have found favor in your eyes, stay, for I have divined that YAHUAH has blessed thee for your sake. And he said, name me your wages, and I give it. And he said to him, you know how I have served you, and how your livestock has been with me. For the little you had before I came has increased greatly. And YAHUAH has blessed you since my coming. But now when am I to provide for my own house too? And he said, what do I give you? And Yaakub said, give me naught. If you do this for me, I shall again feed and guard your flocks.
Listen, what Yaakub was subjected to, listen, what he was subjected to through Laban, you can't do in your flesh. You can't do in your flesh. In his flesh, he would have grabbed Laban by his neck. He couldn't have done that in his flesh. That could only be done in Ruach. That could only be done in Ruach. He could only serve that wicked man for 20 years if he was walking in Ruach. Otherwise, it would have been impossible. Yahushua could have had his beard plucked out and been spit upon and been beaten if he had been in his flesh. He could not have done that in his flesh. He had to be in Ruach. This is a trait of those who are firstborn sons according to the Ruach. This is a trait. We can take much. We can deal with much because we're not operating in our flesh. We're operating according to the Ruach. Read, little one.
Let me pass through all your flock today, removing from there all the speckled and spotted sheep, and all the black ones among the lambs, and the spotted and speckled among the goats. And these shall be my wages, and my righteousness shall answer for me in time to come. When you come concerning my wages, every one...
And my righteousness shall answer for me. We know that righteousness is Torah. Again, you can't do righteousness. You can't obey Torah unless you are born according to Ruach. You can't. You can't. He could not have done this righteousness in his flesh. You can't obey Torah in your flesh. You can't. Thus, you can't walk the ancient path in your flesh. Come on, read.
Everyone that is not speckled or spotted among the goats and black among the lambs, it is stolen if it is with me. And Laban said, see, let it be according to your word. And on that day he set aside the male goats that were speckled and spotted, and all the female goats that were speckled and spotted, everyone that had some white in it, and all the black ones among the lambs, and gave them into the hands of his sons. And he put 3 days' journey between himself and Yaakov, and Yaakov fed the rest of Laban's flocks. And Yaakov took for himself rods of green poplar, and of the almond and chestnut trees, peeled white strips in them, and exposed the white which was in the rods. And he set the rods which he had peeled before the flocks in the gutters, in the watering troughs, where the flocks came to drink, and they conceived when they came to drink. So the flocks conceived before the rods, and the flocks brought forth streaked, speckled, and spotted. And Yaakov separated the lambs and made the flocks face toward the streak, and all the black in the flock of Laban. But he put his own flocks by themselves, and did not put them with Laban's flock. And it came to be, whenever the strong ones of the flock conceived, that Yaakov placed the rods before the eyes of the flocks in the gutters, so that they would conceive among the rods. But when the flocks were weak, he did not put them in. So the weak ones were Laban's, and the strong ones Yaakov. Thus the man increased very much, and had many flocks, and female and male servants, and camels and donkeys.
This is a common theme amongst those who are firstborn according to the Ruach. Yahuwah favors them, and he increases them. He increases them greatly. He favors them and he increases them greatly because he what? He repays them according to their righteousness. Well, some may say, well, he's increased me too. Not if you're firstborn according to the flesh. Understand this. The father of the firstborn according to the flesh, he also gives gifts. Yes, he does. As he took Yahusha up to that high mountain and showed him all the reigns of the earth and said, all this I will give to you if you will bow down and worship me. Yeah, he gives gifts to his children as well. If you don't have the fruit of someone, firstborn, born according to the Ruach, then your father, the firstborn according to the flesh, is giving you your gifts. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. If you ate up with envy, if you ate up with pride, if you got hatred in you, if you're self-seeking, looking for position, looking for a platform, you're not born according to the Ruach. You're born according to the flesh. And your father has given you gifts. Read, little one.
Genesis 31.
Genesis, Barashif, chapter 31. Genesis, Barashif, chapter 31. Genesis, Barashif, chapter 31, beginning at verse 1, we read.
And he heard the words of Laban's son, saying, Yaakov has taken away all that was our father's.
Oh, see, here we are again. Firstborn according to the flesh, envying firstborn according to the Ruach because of the promise and because that Yahuwah favors those who are firstborn according to the Ruach. He gives them good gifts. So here is a common denominator again. The firstborn according to the flesh, envying the firstborn according to the Ruach. Read.
And from what belonged to our father, he has made all this wealth. And Yaakov would look at the face of Laban and see that it was not toward him as before. And Yahuwah said to Yaakov, return to the land of your fathers and to your relatives. I am with you.
Oh, here's another key. If you are firstborn according to the Ruach, then Yahuwah is with you. He will go wherever you go. He must, because he's in you. He's in you. And wherever you go, wherever your feet touch the soil, he will give to you. No man will be able to stand before you all the days of your life. Why? Because if you are firstborn according to the Ruach, wherever you go, wherever your feet touch the soil, Barak Yahuwah, the reign of Elohim has come. Yes, it has. Yes, it has. Barak Yahuwah. Read.
And Yaakov sent and called Rachel and Leah to the field to his flock, and said to them, I see your father's face, that it is not towards me as before, but the Elohim of my father has been with me. And you know that I have served your father with all my strength, yet your father has deceived me and changed my wages 10 times.
Listen, I have served him. The operative word is serve, with all my strength. We are to serve as though we are serving Yahuwah himself with all of our heart, mind, and strength. And we are to be upright before Yahuwah and men. This is a trait of a firstborn according to the Ruach. And so even though this man, this wicked man, had changed his wages, those 10 times? He maintained his integrity. He maintained his meek and mild and quiet and gentle and perfect nature. Irrespective of what this man had done, this wicked man had done, he could not have done that in the flesh. Many of you here, and you know this to be true, had someone done that to you, you would have reacted out of your flesh before the 10th time. You cannot do that what he did, being in your flesh. Indeed, what you are listening to is the ancient path, being firstborn according to the Ruach, which we cannot do. We cannot walk this ancient path and mirror the example of our righteous father Yaakov, unless we're born in like manner that he was born in. Barak Yahuwah. Read, little one.
But Elohim did not allow him to do evil to me. When he said this, the speckled are your wages, then all the flocks bore speckled.
He will allow no evil to come upon you, upon his firstborn son. Come on, read.
And when he said this, the streaked are your wages, then all the flocks bore streaked. So Elohim has taken away the livestock of your father and given them to me. And it came to be at the time when the flocks conceived, that I lifted up my eyes and looked in a dream and saw the rams which leaped upon the flocks were streaked, spotted, speckled, and mottled. And the messenger of Elohim spoke to me in a dream, saying, Yaakov, and I said, Here I am. And he said, Lift your eyes now and see, all the rams which leap on the flocks are streaked, speckled, and mottled. For I have seen all that Laban is doing to you, and I am the all of Ba'ith all, where you anointed the standing column and where you made a vow to me. Now rise up, get out of this land, and return to the land of your relatives. And Rachel and Leah answered and said to him, Do we still have any portion or inheritance in our father's house? Are we not reckoned by him as strangers? For he has sold us and also entirely consumed our silver. For all the wealth which Elohim has taken from our father is ours and our children. Now then do whatever Elohim has told you. So Yaakov rose and put his sons and his wives on camels, and he drove off all his livestock and all his possessions which he had acquired, his property of the livestock which he had acquired in Padam Aram, to go to his father Ishkak in the land of Canaan.
Like any good son, he obeyed the voice of his father. Here is another trait, a characteristic of a firstborn according to the Ruach and someone walking the ancient path. We obey the voice of our father. We obey the voice of our father. Whereas the firstborn according to the flesh, Cain, Esau, Ishmael, the Pharisees, all who were born according to the flesh, the firstborn of Egypt, disobeyed the father. Disobey the father. Cain did not obey Yahuwah. We began with that earlier, how he did not follow Torah, how he brought his own offering, not in accordance with the Torah. But the firstborn according to the Ruach is not just mere lip service. They truly obey the father in Ruach and in truth. Read, little one.
And when Laban had gone to shear his sheep, Rachel stole the house idol idols that were her father's. And Yaakov deceived Laban the Aramean because he did not inform him that he was about to flee. And he fled with all that he had, and he rose up and passed over the river and headed toward the mountains of Galaad. And on the third day, Laban was told that Yaakov had fled. Then he took his brothers with him and pursued him for 7 days' journey, and he overtook him in the mountains of Gilead.
Look at this firstborn wicked man according to the flesh. Look at him. He had changed his man's wages 10 times, had mistreated him and deceived him. Indeed, when we read about Esau, I believe it's the book of Joshua, when it talks about how Esau was a designing and deceitful man. Indeed, that goes back to Cain. These are all children of the wicked one. They all have the same traits. Just like the firstborn according to the Ruach, all of us have the same traits. The firstborn according to the flesh all have the same trait, designing and deceitful people. Look at this wicked man, pursuing him despite what he had done to him. Read, little one.
But in a dream by night, Elohim came to Laban the Aramean and said to him,
touch not my anointed and do my not be no harm. Oh, come on, read.
Guard yourself that you do not speak to Yaakov either good or evil. Then Laban overtook Yaakov. Now Yaakov had pitched his tent in the mountains, and Laban with his brothers pitched in the mountains of Gilead. And Laban said to Yaakov, what have you done that you have deceived me and driven my daughters off like captives taken with the sword? Why did you flee secretly and deceive me and not inform me? And I would have sent you away with joy and songs with tambourine and lyre. And you did not allow me to kiss my sons and my daughters. Now you have been foolish to do this. It is in the power of my hand to do evil to you. But the Elohim of your father spoke to me last night, saying, guard yourself that you do not speak to Yaakov either good or evil. And now you have gone because you greatly long for your father's house. But why did you steal my mighty ones? And Yaakov answered and said to Laban, because I was afraid, for I said, lest you tear your daughters away from me. With whomever you find your mighty ones, do not let him live. In the presence of our brothers, see for yourself.
Now we understand by reading the book of Joshua that it wasn't Yaakov that stole the mighty ones. It was Rachel who stole the mighty ones. And we understand in the book of Joshua that he would divine by these mighty ones. They were actually cut off heads of firstborn sons, in which he put silver under their tongue. And a demon would enter these heads, these severed heads, and he would divine by them. They would talk. And so she knew that if she left these heads, that her father would divine by them and find out where they were. So it was her that took them, and it was for that purpose that she took those heads. Read, little one.
See for yourself what is with me and take it with you. For Yaakov did not know that Rachel had stolen them. And Laban went into Yaakov's tent and to Laah's tent, and into the tents of the 2 female servants, but he could not find them. And he came out of Laah's tent and entered Rachel's tent. Now Rachel had taken the house idols and put them in the camel's saddle and sat on them. And Laban searched all about the tent, but did not find them. And she said to her father, let it not displease my master that I am unable to rise before you, for the way of woman is with me. And he searched, but did not find the house idols. And Yaakov was wroth and contended with Laban. And Yaakov answered. Now
Yaakov was wroth and contended with Laban, just because we are firstborn according to the Ruach. Just because we are calm, we are quiet, we are gentle, we are meek, we are mild, we are perfect. Just because we have this doesn't mean that we are effeminate men. It does not mean we're effeminate men. Yahuwah has no sons who are effeminate. Effeminate men will not inherit the reign of Elohim. He has no firstborn son who is effeminate. He does not. Don't confuse effeminate with gay. Can a gay person be effeminate? Yes, he can be both effeminate and gay. But a man can be simply effeminate, meaning he has feminine ways. He can have a wife and still be effeminate and have feminine ways. Yahuwah does not have effeminate sons. If you have effeminate traits, you're not his son. He is a man of war, a man of valor. He has no effeminate sons. So just because we are calm, we're meek, we're quiet, we're gentle, we're perfect, does not mean we're effeminate. He rose up and he was wroth with this man. Read.
What is my transgression? What is my crime that you have hotly pursued me? Now that you have searched all my goods, what have you found of all your household goods? Set it here before my brothers and your brothers, and let them decide between the two of us. These 20 years I have been with you. Your ewes and your female goats have not miscarried their young, and I have not eaten the rams of your sheep.
And I have not eaten the rams of your sheep. He was a man of integrity. Integrity is a trait of a firstborn according to the Ruach. Integrity. I did not eat not one of your sheep. No different than Dawood when he was dealing with Nabal, and he was watching, he and his men were watching over their flocks and watching over their men. And when he went to Nabal and said, we didn't take not one of your sheep. We didn't eat not one of them, and not one of them were missing while we were watching over them. He was a man of integrity. This is a trait of all of the firstborn according to the Ruach. Read, little one.
That which was torn by beast I did not bring to you.
Listen.
I myself bore the loss.
I myself bore the loss. I'm a man of integrity. I'm born according to the Ruach. I am perfect. I didn't take nothing from you. I served you in sincerity and truth with integrity. I walk uprightly before you and my Elohim. Read.
You required it from my hand, whether stolen by day or stolen by night. Thus I was. By the day the heat consumed me, and the frost by night, and my sleep fled from my eyes. These 20 years I have been in your house. I've served you 14 years for your 2 daughters, and 6 years for your flocks. And you have changed my wages 10 times.
You have changed my wages 10 times. Yet I still served you with integrity. I still walk uprightly before you and my Elohim. I still walk before you meek and gently and mild with a meek and quiet ruach. He could not have done that in his flesh. He had to be in the ruach and have the ruach of Elohim in order to walk this ancient path in this way. Read, little one.
Unless the Elohim of my father,
yes,
the Elohim of Abraham,
yes,
and the fear of Ishkak had been with me,
yes,
you would have sent me away empty-handed.
You would have sent me away empty-handed, but my Elohim would not allow it, because he does not allow his firstborn sons to be mistreated in this way. Read.
Elohim has seen my affliction and the labors of my hand, and rendered judgment last night.
Oh, Barak Yahuwah. Read.
And Laban answered and said to Yaakov, these daughters are my daughters, and these children are my children, and this flock is my flock, and all that you see is mine. But what shall I do today to these, my daughters, or to their children whom they have borne? And now come, let us make a covenant, you and I, and it shall be a witness between you and me. So Yaakov took a stone and set it up as a standing column. And Yaakov said to his brothers, gather stones. And they took stones and made a heap, and they ate there on the heap. And Laban called it Yagar Sahad Dutha, but Yaakov called it Galid. And Laban said, this heap is a witness between you and me today. This is why its name was called Galid, also Mishpah, because he said, let Yahuwah watch between you and me when we are out of each other's sight. If you afflict my daughters, or if you take other wives besides my daughters, although no man is with us, see, Elohim is witness between you and me. And Laban said to Yaakov, see this heap and see this standing column, which I have placed between you. This heap is a witness, and this standing column is a witness, that I do not pass beyond this heap to you, and you do not pass beyond this heap and this standing column to me for evil. The Elohim of Abraham, the Elohim of Nachor, and the Elohim of their fathers rightly rule between us. And Yaakov swore by the fear of his father Ishkak. And Yaakov slaughtered a slaughtering on the mountain, and called his brothers to eat bread. And they ate bread and spent the night on the mountain. And Laban rose up early in the morning and kissed his sons and daughters and blessed them. And Laban left and returned to his place.
Despite what this man had done to him, he still dealt righteously with him. He still was upright with this man, and he made a covenant with this man. This you cannot do in the flesh. These actions, one cannot do in the flesh. One cannot do in the flesh. One can only act in this manner if he is born of Ruach, if he is a firstborn according to the Ruach. Read, little one.
Genesis 32.
Genesis chapter 32. Barashit chapter 32. How we looking for time?
148.
Barak Yahuwah. Barashit chapter 32. Genesis chapter 32. Barshith chapter 32. Beginning at verse 1. Read.
And Yaakov went on his way, and the messenger of Elohim met him. And when Yaakov saw them, he said, "This is the camp of Elohim."
Now, in the book of Jasher, you understand that these are literally messengers. These are what the Gentiles call angels. These are literally messengers that met Yahuwah and that went before him on his behalf, as they do. The messengers of Yahuwah encamp around those who reverence him. They went before him on his behalf to contend with Esau, his brother. Read, little one.
And he called the name of that place Makat Naim. And Yaakov sent messengers before him to Ashu, his brother, in the land of Sa'ar.
The firstborn according to the flesh, he sent messengers to.
The field of Adum. And he commanded them, saying, "Say this to my master Ashu."
Listen here, listen. Tom, being meek, being gentle, being quiet. He says, say this to my master. He still honored him, even though the barakah of the firstborn was given to him, which is to say blessing. He still honored him as his elder brother, even though he knew that Esau, Ashu, hated him, even though he knew that Ashu wanted to kill him, even though he knew that Ashu, Esau, meant no good to him. Yet he said, tell my master. He still honored him. You can't do that in your flesh. You cannot do this in your flesh. Come on, read, little one.
Your servant Yaakov said this.
Your servant Yaakov said this. Listen, unless you're a servant, you're not firstborn. You're not a firstborn. Because the only way to get back to the throne is to be a servant, is to follow the example of the Hamashiach. To lower yourself as a servant, so that in due time he will exalt us. The ancient path is the servant's road. It's the back road. It's not the king's road. It's not the popular road where the king and all the nobility walk, the nobility of this earth. It's that back road. It's the servant's path. This is the only way back. It's the servant's path. He was a servant. Tell him your servant. Come on, read.
I have sojourned with Laban and stayed there until now. And I have bulls and donkeys, flocks, and male and female servants. And I have sent to inform my master to find favor in your eyes.
I have sent them to my master to find favor in his eyes. You can't do this in the flesh. Read.
So the messenger returned to Yaakov, saying, we came to your brother Ashu, and he also is coming to meet you, and 400 men with him. And Yaakov was greatly afraid and distressed. So he divided the people that were with him, and the flocks and the herds and the camels, into two groups. And he said, if Ashu comes to the one group and strikes it, then the other group which is left shall escape. And Yaakov said, O Elohim of my father Abraham, and Elohim of my father Ishkak, Yahuwah who said to me, return to your land and to your relatives, and I do good to you. I do not deserve the least of all the loving commitment and all the truth which you have shown your servant. For I passed over this Yarden with my staff, and now I have become two groups. Deliver me, I pray, from the hand of my brother.
Deliver me, for I pray, from the hand of my brother.
From the hand of Ashu. For I fear him, lest he come and shall strike me and the mother with the children. For you said, I shall certainly do good to you, and shall make your seed as the sand of the sea, which are too numerous to count. And he spent the night there and took what came to his hand as a present for Ashu his brother. 200 female goats and 20 male goats, 200 ewes and 20 rams, 30 suckling camels with their colts, 40 cows and 10 bulls, 20 female donkeys and 10 foals. And he gave into the hand of his servants every drove by itself, and said to his servant, pass over before me, and put some distance between drove and drove. And he commanded the first one, saying, when Ashu my brother meets you and asks you, saying, to whom do you belong, and where are you going, and whose are these in front of you? Then you shall say, these are your servant Yaakov's. It is a present sent to my master Ashu. And see, he also is behind us. So he commanded the second and the third and all who followed the drove, saying, speak to Ashu the same word when you find him. And you shall say also, look, your servant Yaakov is behind us. For he said, let me appease him with the present that goes before me. And after that, see his face, he might accept me. And the present passed over before him, but he spent the night in the camp. And he rose up that night and took his 2 wives and his 2 female servants and his 11 sons and passed over the ford of Yabuk. And he took them and sent them over the stream and sent over what he had. And Yaakov was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until the break of day.
Yaakov was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until the break of day.
And when he saw that he did not overcome him, he touched the socket of his hip.
And when he saw that he did not overcome him, he touched the socket of his hip.
And the socket of Yaakov's hip was dislocated as he wrestled with him. And he said, let me go, for the day breaks. But he said, I am not letting you go until you have blessed me.
I am not letting you go till you bless me, till you barak me.
So he asked him, what is your name? And he said, Yaakov. And he said, your name is no longer called Yaakov, but Yasharal.
Oh, Barak Yahuwah, but Yasharal. Because why?
Because you have striven with Elohim and with man, and have overcome.
And have overcome. So you claim to be a Yashralim. You claim to be a descendant of Yaakov. First of all, you've got to be a firstborn son. And to be a firstborn son means that you have the DNA, you have the bloodline, the genealogy to overcome as he overcame. He wrestled with Yahuwah himself. Yes, he did. He wrestled with Yahuwah himself. Yahuwah had promised him. Yahuwah had promised him a barakah. He had promised him that he was going to protect him. He had promised him that he was going to make him and his seed as the stars of the Shamayim, that land he was going to give to him. He had promised him, and he said, I am not letting go till you give me what you promised me. I ain't letting you go until you give me what you promised me. And those who are firstborn according to the Ruach, we have this very same DNA in us. We ain't letting go until you give us what you have promised us. And thus, his name was changed to Yasha'al, which means, as a prince, you have striven with both Elohim and man and have overcome. And as we read in the 2nd chapter of Revelation, it talks about those that overcome all these things. That's a common thing. He who overcomes will inherit all this. He who overcomes will inherit all this. He who overcomes will inherit a crown. Will inherit a crown. Because only Yasha'al is going to rule. Because Yasha'al also means to rule with Elohim. So if you don't overcome, you don't have his DNA. If you're giving up, you don't have his DNA. He didn't give up. Even when his hip socket even when Yahuwah touched his hip and it was out of place, even then he did not give up. He did not turn. He did not let go until he gave him what was promised to him. And so if we claim relationship to him, which means that we are firstborn sons, that also means that in our DNA is the DNA to overcome whatever obstacle, whatever affliction comes before us, and that tenacity in us, like our father Yaakov, whose name was changed to Yasha'al, to never let go until he baraks us and gives us what he promised us. That's in our DNA as a firstborn son. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Read, little one.
And Yaakov asked him, saying, please let me know your name. And he said, why do you ask about my name? And he blessed him there. And Yaakov called the name of that place Panu'al.
Panu'al. He called that place Panu'al, which means what? Face of Elohim. Face of Elohim. Why did he call it Panu'al, face of Elohim?
For I have seen Elohim face to face.
For I have seen Elohim face to face. He wrestled with Elohim and would not let him go until he promised, until he gave him what he promised him. And his seed, who have his DNA, who are firstborn according to the Ruach, have this very same tenacity in them. Barak Yahuwah. Read.
And my life is preserved.
And my life is preserved because I have seen Elohim face to face. Barak Yahuwah.
And the sun rose on him as he passed over Panu'al, and he limped on his hip. This is why the children of Yasharal to this day do not eat the sinew of the hip, which is on the socket of the thigh, because he touched the socket of the thigh of Yaakov in the sinew of the hip.
Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Barashith chapter 33. Genesis chapter 33. And I believe this is going to be our last chapter in looking at our righteous father for today. I believe this is going to be the last chapter that we will look at, looking at the example of our righteous father today, Barak Yahuwah. Genesis Barashif chapter 33. Genesis Barashif chapter 33, beginning at verse 1. Read, little one.
And Yaakov lifted his eyes and looked and saw Ashu coming, with him 400 men. And he divided the children among La'ah and Rakal and the 2 female servants. And he put the female servants and their children in front, and La'ah and her children behind, and Rakal and YAHUAH'S last. And he himself passed over before them and bowed himself to the ground 7 times.
He bowed himself to the ground 7 times, just like his grandfather, his righteous grandfather, Abraham. He was meek. He was gentle. He was mild. He was a humble man. He was a perfect man. He was a quiet man, just like all of the firstborn sons, according to the Ruach. He bowed himself 7 times. You ain't gonna bow yourself to no man in your flesh. No, you won't. No, you won't. You will not bow yourself to no man in your flesh. No, you won't. Your pride won't let you. No, it won't. Read, little one.
Until he came near to his brother. And Ashu ran to meet him and embraced him, and fell on his neck and kissed him, and they wept. And he lifted his eyes and saw the women and children and said, Who are these with you? And he said, The children with whom Elohim has favored your servant.
Now this is favor because Ashu, Esau, wanted to kill him, just like his father Cain killed Abel. Firstborn according to the flesh. He wanted to persecute him. He wanted to kill him. But those messengers changed his mind. It was those messengers that changed, those what the Gentiles call angels, who changed his minds. Indeed, the messengers of Yahuwah encamp around those who reverence him. The text sometimes says fear him, but who reverence him. Who reverence him. And so it was Yahuwah who fought for this righteous man, for his firstborn son, and did not allow this man of wickedness, this man of Belial of wickedness, to harm his firstborn son. No harm shall come to us. No harm shall come to us who are truly firstborn according to the Ruach. No harm shall come to us. He fights for us, and he goes wherever we go. And so this change of attitude was not because he somehow had a change of heart and he began to love Yaakov. This was out of fear, because those messengers told him that they would destroy him if he laid a hand on Abba's firstborn son, his beloved one, his lovingly committed one, whose name was changed to Yasha'al. Read, little one.
Then the female servants came near, they and their children, and bowed themselves. And La'ah also came near with her children, and they bowed themselves. And YAHUAH'S and Rakal came near, and they bowed themselves.
Do you hear this? They bowed themselves. You cannot do this in your flesh. If you say you can, you're a liar. You can't do this in your flesh. This is the example of a firstborn according to the Ruach. Read.
Then Ashu said, What do you mean by all this company which I met?
Do I mean literally bow to someone? Don't leave here saying I told you to go bow to someone. This is an example in meekness, which is the fruit of the Ruach. This is an example of meekness. My mother was the most meek and gentle woman I've ever known. She was one of the most righteous people I've ever come across. She was meek, she was gentle, she was mild, but she never bowed to no one. She never bowed to no one, but she operated in the fruit of the Ruach. She was meek, she was gentle, she was quiet, she was calm. Barak Yahuwah, read, little one.
And he said, To find favor in the eyes of my master. But Ashu said, I have enough, my brother. Let what you have remain yours. And Yaakov said, No, please. If I have found favor in your eyes, then receive my present from my hand. Because I have seen your face like seeing the face of Elohim, and you were pleased with me. Please take my blessing that is brought to you, because Elohim has favored me, and because I have all I need. And he urged him, and he took it.
This is the fruit of the Ruach. This is the evidence of the Ruach. This is the evidence. This is evidence of him being a firstborn son in his dealings with his brother Esau. Read.
And he said, Let us depart and go, and let me go before you. But he said to him, My master knows that the children are weak, and the flocks and the herd which are nursing with me. And if the men should drive them hard one day, all the flock shall die.
We also operate in chakma, which is to say wisdom and discernment. If you are firstborn according to the Ruach, you operate in chakma and wisdom, which he is using here. Read.
Please let my master go before his servant, and let me lead on slowly according to the pace of the livestock that go before me, and according to the pace of the children, until I come to my master in Sa'ar. And Ashu said, please let me leave with you some of the people who are with me. But he said, why this? Let me find favor in the eyes of my master. And Ashu returned that day on his way to Sa'ar, and Yaakov set out to Succoth, and built himself a house and made booths for his livestock. This is why the name of the place is called Succoth. And Yaakov came safely to the city of Shechem, which is in the land of Canaan, when he came from Padam Aram. And he pitched his tent before the city. And he bought the portion of the field where he had pitched his tent from the children of Kamur, Shechem's father, for 100 kitzah. And he set up a slaughter place there and called it Alua Yasharal.
Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. He set up an altar there. He set up an altar which alludes to worship. Which alludes to worship, as all of the firstborn, according to the Ruach, we have that in common as well. We worship Yahuwah. We reverence Yahuwah. We are calm. We are meek. We are quiet. We are gentle people. We are servants. We are servants. We are servants. We look not to be served, but to serve. This is a trait or a characteristic of a firstborn son, born not according to the flesh, but born according to the Ruach. And it is these who operate in this way. You see, it's not merely enough to say you are on the ancient path. We must demonstrate that we are on the ancient path by our fruit, via our fruit. And it is impossible to display that fruit, the kind of fruit that we see in Yahuwah. It is impossible to display that type of fruit, and the type of fruit of all of the righteous firstborn sons, Abraham and Ishak and Yaakov, going all the way down to Yahusha. It is impossible to display that type of fruit unless you are born of Ruach. And unless we display that type of fruit, again, we're not on the ancient path. And if we're not on the ancient path, we're on the broad road that leads to destruction. And as in the time before the flood, we're going to be left here to the proverbial flood waters that are soon to come upon this earth. So it's not enough to say that you're on the ancient path. It's not enough to say it. We must have the fruit. You will know them by the fruits. And the fruit is the fruit of the Ruach. The fruit of the Ruach. We cannot walk this ancient path without being born from above. And if we're not born from above, then we're not going to be redeemed from the hour of trial that is soon to come upon this earth. Thank you, Master Yahuwah, for this continued walk and for the continued examples that you give. It is my prayer, Master, that we all adhere to the warning, that we all adhere to the plea, to cry out to you for your righteous Ruach, for a continual filling of your righteous Ruach, through whom and through him alone are we empowered to walk this ancient path. And by walking this ancient path, we understand that this path will lead to Mount Zion, where we will be given a song that no one else can sing. We understand now, Master, that in accordance with Torah, that it is only firstborn according to the Ruach that you are coming to redeem from the earth, to deliver from the hour of trial. And we understand, Master, that if we boast in being firstborn according to the Ruach, then we must have the requisite fruit, Abba, to back up what we say. There must be requisite fruit. It's not about lip service. It is about action. It is about action. It is about walking in Ruach and displaying the requisite fruit of someone who is walking in Ruach. It is my prayer, Master, that these words that are going forth are not falling to the earth void, Master, but that they are going forth and accomplishing that which you have sent them forth to do. It is my prayer, Master, that this word, that the seed that has gone forth this day has not fallen by the wayside, that not one seed has fallen by the wayside, that not one seed has fallen on stony ground, that not one seed has fallen amongst thorns, but that this seed, Master, has fallen on fertile soil, fertilized soil, and that such that that is conducive for growing, such that the Ruach HaKadosh will come behind the seed and water that seed so that it grows up to become a mighty tree, producing the fruit that leads to everlasting life. It is in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach I pray. So be it, so be it, so be it. To those of you who are on YouTube, once again, we are grateful that you'll stop by to spend this Shabbat with us. It is my prayer that these words of life are not falling simply void to the earth, but that they are being planted deep within your beings, that they are being planted deep within not only your heart, but your kilya, your kidney, which is to say your innermost thoughts, and that you are applying these words to your lives, and that you are, even as we speak, even as you are under the sound of my voice, that you are now seeing the importance of being born according to the Ruach, being firstborn according to the Ruach, and that if you remain firstborn according to the flesh, that you're going to be destroyed. So it is my prayer that these words are not falling on deaf ears as it goes to the four corners of the earth. It is my prayer that you would continue to join us as these most important words in this Bu'adah are being spoken. It is my prayer that you would continue to join us, and that these words once again are not falling on the proverbial deaf ears. Until the next time, Yahuwah barak us and guard us. Yahuwah make his face shine upon us and show favor unto us. Yahuwah lift up his face upon you and give you shalom. Thus you shall put my name on the children of Yasha'al, and I myself shall barak them. So be it, so be it, so be it.